So I tend to live my life by the mantra, go big or go home. And we are definitely doing that this year. You have already seen us unbox some absolutely massive TVs on the channel, and we've got another doozy for you today. Today, we are going to dig into the Hisense 110-inch UX TV. I feel like we've got a little bit of experience going for us here, but no doubt this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. You know, we're a little space constrained, but we just want to take you through the entire process so that you know what it would be like if you had this done at your home. Of course, I would highly suggest that you have professionals take care of that, and I believe that's actually included with the purchase of the TV. Not for us though. Actually, to be clear, I think Hisense would have paid to have it set up, but then we wouldn't get the whole unboxing experience for you guys, right? So that's why I pulled in my friends. We've got Zeke, Chris, Peter, and Greg in the house to get this TV unboxed. Huge thanks to those guys. There's no way we could do this without them all here. So without further ado, let's dig into this thing. Oh, that's right. The price has not been announced. That's one of the benefits of being a reviewer is you get this stuff before everybody else. One of the cons, if you will, is that you don't always necessarily know what the thing is going to cost. We do expect it to be somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000, which is, that's a huge range, right? It's going to be expensive. But if you compare what this thing can do with a large format projection screen and a projector that could get maybe half as bright as this thing could, you're spending that much money anyway. So looking at the box, it's a very large box, obviously, but you'll notice it says Championship Edition. If you were unaware, Hisense is partnered up with the NBA. They are the official TV of the NBA. And I have been told that along with the purchase of the 110-inch UX, you also get a whole bunch of really fun NBA swag. What all that entails, I'm not entirely sure. Hisense is sending that to me, and hopefully I'll be able to show you that as part of the review. But you do get a lot of perks if you spend such big bucks on a TV like this. All right, I'm gonna start removing clips and we're just gonna see what happens, all right? So typically these gigantic TVs tend to open like a gigantic book. We saw that with the previous model that we worked with. Not sure that's gonna be the case with this guy. So we're kind of figuring it out as we go along, which honestly I think is like half the fun, right? So there's a strip of tape back here that I almost missed. This did arrive on a pallet, by the way. And it took about 3 guys to get it into the studio, but they did a great job with that. Like I said, professional installation, I believe, is gonna be included with the purchase of this TV. All right, so I feel like, yeah, this box is just gonna fall to pieces on us. All right, time for some helpers to step in. I think, you know what? Where do we want to put this box? Let's just get these outside onto the patio if we can. Big reveal of the foam. Wow, that is some heavy foam. Part of it is because we've got gigantic legs in here. Let's do a quick check to make sure these will actually fit on our entertainment cabinet. I think they will. Come check this out. It is just barely gonna fit, but it is gonna fit. It's gonna fit well. We'll have about 1/4 of an inch. Bag of goodies. Got Hisense's remote. Exactly the same as the U7N, actually. It's a kind of a brushed metal look, but it's actually plastic. Just throwing some stuff on the floor. Yeah, we'll figure this stuff out later. A couple AAA batteries. Let's get these big cardboard pieces out. And I think we'll just shove these off to the side for now, so they are handy. Side foam. You know, so far this is a lot like most of the TVs that we unbox here. It's just at a bigger scale. This little symbol indicates to me that we probably want to cut this box apart, which makes a lot of sense because I don't think we'd want to lift it out of there, right? Let's actually, Greg, will you help me move this out into the room just a little bit, please? That should be fine right there. Hopefully not too far. What do you think? Should I look at the instructions or are we good just kind of like winging it? Yeah, this is the front of the TV. Oh, you know what I bet we're supposed to do is slide it out of the box now. Maybe I should have read the instructions. Well, you know what? If we aren't gonna have to lay it face down, then that's not a problem. We can actually afford to slide it forward a bit. Here we go. It's a partial reveal, just a tease. Strip this down a little. Yeah, man. You think you're gonna get used to it, but you never do. Okay, so what it's telling us to do is to pull each side piece of foam out, which is going to expose the place where we can put the legs. So the center piece of foam is going to keep it elevated enough that we can put the feet on. Pulling the side pieces of foam out will expose both mounting locations. So yeah, depending on how wide your media stand is, you can put the legs in two different places. So it can go on a narrower media stand. I am going to measure before we do anything else though. So the total width of this TV it's almost 100 inches. And I know for a fact that this guy right here is less than that. Yeah, we got 80 or 79. We'll measure between the mounting locations before we make a final decision. All right. Okay. All right, so it's too much. We got to go. Okay, so we got to go with the inside mounting location. All right, so we don't have great light back here. Y'all will have to forgive us for that, but oh, so there's different heights that you can do. Okay, you know what? I'm doing whatever that height is because I can get this done right now. One, two. Greg, would you be willing to grab the other leg for me, please? There we go. That's better. Got to make sure I'm getting it at the same height as the other one, which eyeballing it appears to be this. So I could make this be a little bit more low slung, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna go with this mounting location. Just know that if you wanted it to sit like right down on your media cabinet with no space at all, you can. Or if you want to get a little more height out of it to afford room for a sound bar, I'm sure Hisense would like to sell you one of those as well. That is also possible. All right, solid feel and legs. So surprisingly, we're about ready to lift this onto the BDI cabinet. There's just one problem. There's already a Hisense TV there. But since there is, let's do a little comparison to see what this TV looks like relative to a 65-inch TV. Okay, so I figured we'd take a close look at the back of the TV now because I don't know when we're gonna be back here again. As I mentioned before, we do have two handles on each side. These can be easily removed. It's just Phillips head screws. So if you're gonna wall mount this thing, and yes, you can wall mount it, you'd remove the handles obviously, but these things are absolutely essential just for getting the TV out of the box, let alone for the rest of the setup. As we move in towards the middle, we see we have some, we're gonna call them subwoofers, but we use that term loosely. Obviously, these are fairly small drivers, but we have a total of 4 transducers here. This handles all of the bass for the television. There's supposed to be a pretty advanced speaker system built into this. I'm noticing that there are vent holes at the top of the TV for up-firing speakers. So it's going to try and do some kind of Dolby Atmos thing for us. We'll evaluate how well it does in the actual review. Just wanted to mention that without these bass transducers, this TV is going to sound kind of empty, hollow, maybe even a little thin and tinny. You don't want that. Out of a 110-inch TV, it needs to sound as big as it looks. So this was absolutely essential. And then on the far side of the TV, we have our input bay. We're going to take a closer look at that during the review. For now, I just wanted to point out that it does allow a really good amount of space. Since it is a thicker TV, we've got a nice deep pocket here for the inputs, which means that you can use fairly stout HDMI cables if you need or want to, and not worry about there being enough room for them. Although, I will say that if you do a flush mount job on this TV, getting access to these is not going to be easy. And as long as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing the RG6 connection there. That would be a ATSC 3.0 tuner, as you would find in just about all of Hisense's ULED TVs. So now that we've got the feet on, let's go ahead and get it out of the foam. Oh gosh, I'm going the wrong direction. Sorry guys. And go. Oh dude, are you all right? Did you bruise yourself? So one thing we noticed, if you're listening, Hisense, I understand why you have the vertical orientation on the handles here, and I think that's fine for up top. But you know, we hurt ourselves a little bit lifting this just now. It would really help if this handle was actually faced in the horizontal position as opposed to vertical. I think I said horizontal earlier. What I meant was vertical is fine up top, horizontal would be better down at the bottom. Otherwise, yeah, you're putting a lot of pressure just on your index finger there. Anyway, if you set this up yourself, be very careful. So let's just kind of hang here for a second, Peter. I mean, if we align this with the top of the TV, you can very clearly see that it is so much smaller. We'll go ahead and put it down now. And yeah, this TV is not quite 4 times the size of a 65-inch TV. Obviously, you would need a 130-inch diagonal screen to do that, but it is well larger than a 65-inch TV. And for anyone out there thinking right now, who needs a TV this big? There's no way that this is not going to be overwhelming in the average size living room. I'm here to tell you, it's not as overwhelming as you think. And as a matter of fact, you get used to it faster than you might think. Is it a bit of an eyesore from a decor perspective? Yeah, I think so. Like if you just put this in the main living room and this is the first thing that people see when they walk into your house, it can be a bit much. But instead of getting a projector and a screen for your dedicated home theater or your den or any purpose-built room for entertainment and watching TV, this works out great. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, let's just get it up onto the cabinet in the first place. Careful. There you go. Holy crap, I'm gonna need to get the stool to get all the plastic off. I didn't think about that. We're probably should have stripped all the plastic off of this thing before we got it up there, but I was so excited just to get it into place that I kind of forgot about that. So, yeah, I'm gonna grab the step stool and we're gonna peel all the plastic off of this and try and get some ASMR in there for you too.
It looks insane on that cabinet.
It does look insane on this cabinet.
So crazy, dude.
All right, so the energy guide sticker says that we're looking at $176 estimated yearly energy cost. That is based on this thing being in the eco mode, and you already know it's not gonna be in eco mode. The eco mode caps the brightness, so we're gonna go ahead and turn this thing up to torch level. Although, let's be honest, if you're buying this TV, you're probably not hurting to pay your electric bill. I don't know. I don't know what that life is like. That's one layer. Dear planet, we're sorry. Yeah, the side firing speakers on this thing are crazy. I actually think they went through a few different design iterations for these side speakers. They definitely wanted the space to have like a proper speaker system, but they didn't want to go like Sony did years ago, where you actually had a strip of speakers on the edges of the TV. And I think this is a pretty good compromise. I mean, it's kind of a, you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't, right? Some people might complain that the speakers make everything more bulky, but you know that if this thing wasn't outfitted with like a really serious audio system, people would be clowning it for that. That's why I'm always talking about like design compromises. Like you can't have everything. So you really have to just decide what's the most important. All right, this is my favorite part. Like we got all the little film off. This is the big one. We ready? Okay. What do you think? I think it's pretty good. I'm actually setting a bad example. You could suffocate yourself. Hi. We're just unboxing TVs today. Here we go. TV looks good. I want to turn it on so bad. In just a second, you're going to see this TV turned on, but we're going to take a quick pause and try to get this room put back together. I'll see you in a second. And I'm curious about that, because I mean, if you compare it to the 65, this is, you know, this is, I think, kind of the standard for their anti-glare, and we're getting none of that on this TV. And I gotta wonder why. Like, even if you figure it's going into a dedicated room where you can control the light, I don't know, maybe they feel like it is so powerfully bright that it's not gonna matter that it doesn't have anti-glare. But that is definitely gonna be something we have to talk about in the review for sure. All right, plugging it in, and if experience holds true, this thing's gonna come right on. There we go. Now we've got some setup to do, but while this is starting to boot up, oh, full-on NBA Championship Edition. Wow, they built that into the firmware, huh? That's impressive. You only really see that when you like do your first boot up, so it's not like you're gonna see that every time you turn on your TV, but that's kind of clever, right? We're gonna compare the 65 to the 110 in a moment, but I suspect that remote would actually end up operating both TVs, so we're just gonna hold off on powering up the 65 for a minute. And for your convenience, we're gonna do a little bit of time lapse on this thing for you. Boom! The old man. What are you trying to tell me? All right, let's plug in the 65. Already though, look at the difference in the color saturation and the brightness. I mean, yeah, even if you get down at angle, like the 110 is so much better. And actually also, you can tell that the gloss adds luster to this too. Boy, I really got them synced up. But like, yeah, there's way more contrast in the UX. Now keep in mind, this is the U7, so there's an 8 above this that would be closer to the UX, but like, there is a very clear difference between the two. Crazy that the shop link is lingering so much longer here. Oh, you know what? No. You know, that's hilarious. I think it's stuck. Well, also this thing's in eco mode, so you haven't seen anything yet. So at least the color temperature should be similar between the two. Oh my gosh, look at the difference in the intensity on the yellows.
Yeah.
Well, I'll break it in, but I'm not excited about the sound. Okay, so we can't get out of here until I do some first impressions. So let's do that now. It's huge. We knew that already. I like the glossy screen to a certain point. It's going to make it a nightmare to shoot in here. But I am a little bit concerned about how it's going to work in rooms where you've got natural light. I mean, this is a very big mirror, guys. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. First impressions of the sound. For such an elaborate speaker system, I was hoping for a little bit more, to be honest with you. Now, I am going to break it in. Speakers do need break-in. That is a fact. So I'm going to give it a good run, and then we'll reevaluate after that. But if you get this TV, you get it out of the box, and you're thinking, boy, for so many speakers and all this other stuff, I was expecting more sound. So was I. But we still need to play with some settings, break them in, and again, let's wait for the review until we settle on something final there. In terms of the picture quality, well, I mean, I don't have to tell you that it's absolutely blowing away the 65-inch U7. It's a much more advanced TV. It has a more advanced processor, more advanced backlighting. It is capable of getting silly bright, for sure. I can't wait to measure it and see just how bright it gets. But the contrast so far looks fantastic, and we know that Hisense does great black levels, right? We do want to check out the blooming and the halo, but if any Hisense TV is going to mitigate that, it'll be the UX. So we'll be taking a really close look at that. Can't say much about the color yet. I did notice in one of the reels that we watched that the reds were a little bit juiced up, so we might have to do some adjustment on this TV. I will say, if you buy this TV and you're spending that much money, you might want to think about getting a professional calibration, honestly. But again, we'll test it. We'll see how it turns out. 100% solid build quality, though. It is heavy, but it's made of quality components, at least from the exterior, right? And so I have a good degree of confidence that this TV is going to hold up well over time. That is it for now. I cannot wait to review this TV for you. Speaking of which, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, now would be a great time to do it because you will not want to miss that video. Subscribing, make sure that you see it in your feed. Slap this video with a like. Also, not only does it let us know what you like and what you don't like, but it helps the channel tremendously, and we do so much appreciate it. That's it for now, folks. I can't wait to see you back here for the review, and until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like. First off, it's huge. I mean, that, wow, phlegm.